Well, Shevchenko scored a hat-trick against Barcelona. He made his debut with the Ukraine when he was only 18. There were big rumours he was going to go to Italy, but they've dug deep to keep him at home, Derek.
Meanwhile, for the Russians, coached by Anatoly Bishevets, himself a Ukrainian. So many connections in that regard with this match, with Russian players born in the Ukraine, and even in the case of the Ukraine, a couple of players who are native Russians. Andrei Kanchelskis wears number 8 for Russia. He falls in the category of a player born in the Ukraine. He signed this season with the Scottish team Rangers.
Well, if he had it to do over again, he may not be playing for Russia. He might have been playing for the Ukraine, but that's another story. Surprise here in goal. Харін is back. He plays with Chelsea in England. Hasn't played since Euro 96. He's been out of favour. To have him back in today for his first game. And Kalivanov, well, we all know about the kind of dribbling skills this man has and the way he can score goals. And Elena Chep, well, he'll be the man in the middle who will set up all the opportunities. This looks like a very, very good Russian team.
Euro 2000 qualifying. The Ukrainians, as we mentioned, in their yellow and blue outfits, with the Russians in white for this occasion with that light blue trim. Incredible tension out there. And we hope you'll stick around with us here on ESPN for all the drama. Euro 2000 qualifying Group 4, Derek Ray, Tommy Smith. We're at the Olympic Sports Complex in Kiev. Interestingly enough, Tommy, the Russian coach, Anatoly Bishevets, has been quite open in saying that he believes the Ukrainians will really have a go at Russia in the opening 20 minutes, and with that in mind, they may be a little conservative.
Well, you can see that they're going to use 3 strikers, it looks like, Derek, so they really have signalled what their intent is going to be. They're going to have an all-out attack, and they believe, I mean, they just don't want to beat Russia today, Derek. They want to wipe them off. I mean, they've had this feud for a long time, and there is quite a few Russians here as well.
Just waiting for the official word that we can start. It will be the Ukraine attacking the goal to our left in the first half. A fiery atmosphere here in Kiev. The stadium could hold over 80,000. Not too many empty spaces to speak of. We're underway. The Ukraine beginning their campaign in Euro 2000 qualifying. They try to attack down the flank. Gusін looking to establish Shevchenko and Rebrov. And of course, so much extra tension here because back in 1992, after the demise of the old Soviet Union, only one World Cup qualifying place was up for grabs among the emerging nations. And Russia took that spot to the chagrin of the Ukraine.
Well, this is the Ukraine's opportunity, Derek, to prove the world that they were wrong and given that spot to Russia. They feel that they're going to get revenge today. They've built it as a civil war, not just a game today.
I think that is accurate. The Ukraine attacking the goal to our right. The Russians in the white shirts playing from right to left. First minute of action. And the free kick. And you can be sure that every free kick in the Ukraine's favour will be cheered heartily.
Well, this place will really erupt if Shevchenko or somebody can score a goal early for them.
Shevchenko with a short free kick. Kozovsky is there, the hard-working number 9. With support by Mykityn. Volodymyr Mykityn. 8 starters in this Ukraine side. Play for Dynamo Kiev. Mykityn. Away at the vital moment that time by Semak. Second chance for Mykityn. Getting tangled up over on the far side. Opko doing the covering, the number 7 there.
Well, you can see the Russians are not in any hurry at all, Derek. They want to make sure they stay in this game for the first 20 minutes. They don't want to get blown out. They don't want to make any mistakes. They're just playing it nice and cool, figuring they may get the Ukraine just a little bit frustrated.
Dmytrulin, this directed pass. Was that time Shevchenko trying to have a go at the Russian defense.
Well, the amazing thing is that Kiev have been fit to hold on to Shevchenko as we see our first yellow card. Goes to the Ukraine side. You're going to see the tough tackle coming in here. There it is, very, very late, and just comes in. It looks like Kosovsky is the man who was coming in late. There was a couple of tough challenges there.
Gusін was involved as well, the blonde-haired midfielder. As play grinds to a halt once again. Free kick to the Ukraine. They struck it out to the near side towards Головко. Shevchenko trying to work it down toward Rebrov. And it will be a throw on the near side to the Ukraine. Shevchenko getting the job done. Andriy Shevchenko. This is his 22nd cap. Got to weave in field. And it bounces out harmlessly for what will be a throw to the Russians. Yanovsky plays in France for Paris Saint-Germain. Will take it. A strong tackler and good in the air. The man to have on the national team. Anopko. Good skill by the veteran. And this is more promising from the Russian point of view. Haven't seen an attack from them yet. And Lanichev, and a bit of a fumble by Ševkovský in goal.
Oh, he was very lucky, Derek. He knocks the ball down, and luckily for him, there were a couple of players there who could clear it out.
Now the Ukrainians turn to go forward. This is Rebrov, the speedy striker. Trying to direct it all the way out to the left. The run was being made by Skachenko, the number 7. Actually plays in Russia with Torpedo Moscow.
Well, Rebrov is not going to be a big danger coming out that far, that deep to pick up the ball, Derek. I mean, that would be what the Russians would love him to do all day, if he's picking up the ball around the centre circle.
Kalivanov, veteran striker, trying to cut it back for Russia. That's strong defense again. Just confirmation moments ago that Kosovsky was the man who went in the book. Actually dyed his hair since the last time we saw him. As down goes Shevchenko. Gets the free kick.
Oh, you're going to see coming in here Shevchenko, just as he turns around, he gets a little bit of a touch here with the first man coming in, and then the second man just runs over him. And Opko held him up. That's what they're going to try to do with him all day. You don't want him to use his speed and his ability to get through.
Free kick once again. Rebrov this time taken out. What a 1-2 punch that is, Tommy. Rebrov and Shevchenko for the Ukraine.
Well, both of them can score goals, and more importantly, Derek, they complement other very well. The fact that they play on the same club team really helps them out because they know exactly what they're going to do.
Mykityn was trying to play it in. They got the break of the ball again. Rebrov, that's stout defending again by the Russians. And Rebrov is certainly a tough man to pin down. Kosovsky. This is Gusін, and he might have a go. Well, harmless in the end by Andriy Gusін. And wide of Dmitry Харін in goal for Russia. Tommy mentioned Harін back in favour now, having been dispensed with after Euro 96. And in the same category, of course, Andrei Kanchelskis.
Well, I thought all along the way they played Kanchelskis in Euro 96, Derek, just wasn't to his advantage. I mean, for me, when he played with Manchester United, it was the best time he ever had when he was used as an out-and-out winger. Russia used him as a kind of an outside defender as well as an attacker in Euro 96, and it never really worked out.
See on the end of the bench there, Josef Sabo, the coach of the Ukraine. Many people believe he's, to be blunt about it, a puppet coach, with Valery Lobanovsky, the advisor, the real man with the power. Almost 7 minutes on the clock, a goalless start to this game. It's European Championship qualifying Group 4. You see Anatoly Bishevets there, just to the right, the end of the bench. The Russian coach. The Russians trying to take the sting out of the game. Yanovsky is strung it around confidently. Semak, who's lining up on the left side of midfield, can play as a striker. Alenichev misses out him. Semak. Cut out by Mikityn for the Ukraine. Careful play, Varlamov.
Oh, just nice possession play by the Russians. They'd like to get a goal if they could, Derek, but they're more intent on just stifling the Ukraine now, taking the crowd out of it, letting some of this adrenaline flow down.
And there is certainly much adrenaline to speak of. Rebrov tries to play it in. Helped out that time by Dmytrulin. Rebrov again. Scored 8 goals for the Ukraine. Play on, says the German referee. A chase for Kovtun. Now Minkau for Russia. So they opt for the direct approach. A test here for the Ukrainian defense. Semak with a short pass. They might have a go here. So the first real shot of the game for Russia went bobbling wide of Alexander Šovkovský in goal. Oh, I take a deflection? Yes, it did.
He's struggling out there, Derek, and the reason why he's struggling on this is watch on the way in. It's going to come off the boot of a player right in front of him, and he gets almost caught. I mean, if that ball had been on target, he wouldn't have been able to stop it. That's 2 opportunities he's had, and he hasn't come up with the ball in either case.
It'll be Igor Kalivanov to take it. 30-year-old who plays in Italy, Serie A with Bologna. Before that, of course, with Foggia. All the big target players are up, including Chugainov, the defender. Hesitation on the part of Šovkovský, but he got away with it. Mikityn did well. Shevchenko trying to streak away from Kanchelskis. And finally, the Russians recover in midfield. But the pace of Shevchenko and Rebrov not to be underestimated. Moving toward the 10-minute mark, and an intriguing start to this contest. It's booted away by Vashchuk. He was an injury doubt coming into play. Vladislav Vashchuk. Dmytrulin. Tidy work by the Ukraine. And going with the long ball just to vary it. And the header that time coming in from Skachenko.
Skachenko seems to have the ability to roam wherever he wants to, Derek. I mean, he's been popping up on the left-hand side. This time he pops up on the right-hand side. Nobody in support of him in the middle, but Shevchenko and Rebrov are playing way too deep to be effective, Derek.
Kovtun's pass. So much happening, of course, in Euro 2000 qualifying today. Let us bring you up to date with what else is going on. And look at that in Group 8.
Can I sing a few bars of When Irish Eyes Are Smiling?
I thought you might want to do that without even getting my permission. 2-0 there.
2-0. Dennis Irwin and Keane.
And meanwhile, the Scots being held 0-0 in Vilnius.
That's not a good result for Scotland, although they do find it hard to score. And Armenia came up with 3 big ones, Derek.
That is in the same group that we're concerned with, Group 4. That was Andorra's first competitive match, at least at competition level.
And they did manage to score a goal, so that's at least something achieved for them.
We'll continue to keep you abreast of the situation in the other matches as we move along here. Free kick goes to the Ukraine, and Dmytrulin will take it. Good solid performance last time out by the Ukraine. They beat Georgia 4-0 as Dmytrulin feeds it in. Away by Anopko. Both teams like to play on the counter-attack. And here's evidence of that now from Russia. Alenichev is there. Trying to work with Kalivanov. But away comes Gusін. Dynamic midfielder. Plays for Dynamo Kiev. Has that in common with 7 other teammates in the starting 11 for the Ukraine. Shevchenko looking for the decision to go his way. But the referee from Germany wasn't impressed.
Russia doing a good job, Derek, of coming back and marshalling the defence right across the edge of the 18-yard line.
Husin's pass was swept away without much ceremony by Koftun. Back out to Mykityn. This is Kosovsky. Width provided by Dmytrulin. And a wasted ball in the end. A big boot downfield by Yanovsky. Didn't really pay dividends.
Mistake.
Sliding challenge. And the referee's going to intervene again.
Oh, I think he should get a card. Yanovsky should get a card, does get a card, and you're going to see why. First of all, he makes a mistake in giving the ball away, and then he comes in with a wicked challenge on Dmytrulin coming forward.
So 2 yellow cards in the opening 13 minutes. That one for Igor Yanovsky. And he joins the Ukrainian Vitaly Kozovsky in the book of the German referee Markus Merk. It's absolute bedlam here in Kiev. And it will be Rebrov to take the free kick. Looking for options. And at the back post there's an option. And that's a goal. Popov was the man who climbed in at the back post. It's all Ukrainian jubilation.
Did we say it was a mistake by the Russians to give up a free in that situation? It certainly was. Rebrov knocks it across. It's going to take a little bit of a flick on here off a boot. And look at the man coming into the back post, and he gives the keeper no chance. Keeper's coming out on him. Popov is coming in at the right angle. There's the little bit of a flick on. That's what kept the play alive. And as the keeper goes across to cover Popov, there's the bulge in the corner. The old onion bag, and the Ukrainians are off and running.
Serhiy Popov, the man who plays for Shakhtar Donetsk, gives the Ukraine a magnificent start here against their old foes. The game of the century, that's what it's been billed as here in Kiev during the last few days. And now we'll see what Russia is made of.
Oh, this is the one thing that the Russian coach stressed he did not want to do. He did not want to give up a goal in the first 20 minutes. He wanted to keep it cool. It looked like he was achieving his goal, but the Ukraine, that was a mistake at the back, the free kick.
Offside. Kalivanov just stripped it into the illegal position. Oh, what drama here in the opening few minutes. This Euro 2000 qualifier from Group 4. We're at the Olympsky Sports Complex in the city of Kiev. And Popov with the goal for the Ukraine. In the 14th minute, a header at the back post that caught the Russian defense napping. Chugainov. Reminder that the Ukrainians are in yellow, Russia in white. Along with Tommy Smith, I'm Derek Ray. Nice to have you aboard. We begin our Euro 2000's qualifying coverage.
Well, it goes on for quite a while before they get to the finals, Derek. It seems like the World Cup is just over, and here we are qualifying for Euro 2000.
It's a good pass by Varlamov. Might come back to Semak. Mykityn was back to clear it. On Opko. Victor Opko plays in Spain with Oviedo. Nicely robbed again by Skachenko for the Ukraine. They try to switch sides. Gusін.
Oh, Gusін drifting more into the middle. We thought he would be out on the left-hand side, but they're employing him strictly in the middle today, Derek, and it's worked out very well. Big, tall player, a lot of ability and a lot of range.
A reminder to join us for Dutch League football on Monday here on ESPN. Our match of the week, Sparta against Roda Kerkrade. Check your local listings for First Division football from Holland. They couldn't keep it in play that time. The Russians, there's the goal scorer, Serhiy Popov.
Well, he was coming back doing a little bit of defending this time, Derek, so he's proven he can play at either end of the field. One of the few players that's not from Dynamo Kiev on this team, and he comes up with the goods.
The Ukraine trying to put itself on the map after 300 years of Moscow rule. 2 minutes to go. It's 1-0
Well, I suppose you could say Moscow rule even is what has happened with the football, Derek. Most of the good teams in Russia come from Moscow, so it's really been Moscow rule.
This could be an opportunity for Shevchenko. He's trying to hook up with Skachenko, the number 7 there. He takes the lift out of the crowd just for a second, but they're back in it again. Gusin's pass. Very much the central defensive midfield force. Kozovsky. Shevchenko. One wonders how long Dynamo Kiev can keep hold of Shevchenko and Rebrov. So many top clubs around Europe interested. Patient build-up. Hussein. Alan Shearer has scored for England in the 2nd minute against Sweden. What a start there in Group 5.
Well, the start is right, and Georgian Albania no score. England haven't beaten Sweden in about 63 years in Sweden. That could be a big result for them today.
Free kick. A little overly aggressive then on Opko going in. Shevchenko was the man who took the fall. Victor Opko. Tough customer, most capped of all the Russian players. Played 63 times in total for the national team.
Well, he was a big loss last year, Derek. He got injured in that first game against Italy in the first half, and if he had been in there, it might have been a different story. First time he missed a campaign with a game in a long, long time.
Harін directing the traffic. Harін in there ostensibly because goalkeeping has been a problem for Russia over the last few months.
Well, I'm surprised that Russia hasn't put a bit more pressure on the keeper at the opposite end, because the Ukraine keeper Shevchenko doesn't look like he's all that comfortable today, Derek.
There's Sabo there. Must be happy with the state of affairs so far, but a long way to go here in Kiev. The speed of Rebrov and Shevchenko coming to the fore again, and Mikityn is in that menacing attacking position on the left. Kanchelski's trying to hound him. Bishovets and company looking on. Mikityn might well feel he should have done better, but he did get the corner kick in any case.
Well, what the Ukraine are doing, and doing it very effectively, is they're dropping this man back into his own half. Rebrov has gone into his own half, Derek, picking up the ball, and he has the speed to come up the field, and they've already pushed Mikityn forward at that stage.
Rebrov for the corner kick. It's back out on the side of the Ukraine. The fans glued to the action here.
They're really rising and falling with the kick of the ball, aren't they? I mean, once Russia gets the ball, it goes silent. As soon as the Ukraine gets the ball, it picks up again.
Yes, every throw-in is being cheered here today. And a free kick. And this is danger territory. Skachenko taking the tumble.
Well, Gusін can certainly hit him from here as you see the ball coming across into the middle. Played through, and just a matter of a tackle coming from behind Derek and giving up a free kick in a terrible situation. I mean, Russia should have learned what happened the last time to give up a free in this situation, but they don't learn, and
the tension mounts. It's 1-0 to Ukraine. Everybody behind the ball for Russia here. And there's the drive. Desperately close. Both Shevchenko and Dmytrulin at the controls.
Shevchenko hit it, Derek. He was going for that top left-hand corner, and he just screws it a little bit over the top of it. He just doesn't get it down low enough to beat the keeper. The keeper was scrambling. Had the ball been on target, I think he might have been in severe trouble. Let's see as the ball comes into him. Look at the way it just cut over that top. He would never have gotten to it had it been a foot lower.
They sense that the Russians are vulnerable here.
Well, Kanchelskis hasn't been able to get involved in the game. I don't think he's had a touch on the ball yet, except once when he came back to play a little defence. They haven't been fit to get him involved in an attacking role.
Yes, he's been pinned back, almost playing as a right-sided defender as opposed to the free-flowing, swashbuckling right winger that he can be. Chugainov. This is 21st cap. Plays for Lokomotiv Moscow. Trying to loop it over the middle. Difficult to imagine that you could beat this well-drilled Ukrainian defense that way, though. Offside flag is raised. Anopko. The Russians in the white shirts, if you've recently joined us here on ESPN. They trail 1-0, and things just not going to plan so far. All the politicians in attendance today. The president of the Ukraine, big fan of international football, Leonid Kuchma. And of course, Boris Yeltsin, the Russian president, was really the man who appointed Anatoly Bishevets to the job just a few months ago. Called for a top-class coach, and they got him. Here's a sweeping counter-attack again. Good numbers here for the Ukraine as they try to slide it through. And could it be a second goal? Yes! Skachenko. This is unbelievable stuff.
Incredible stuff. Brilliant run down the middle. The ball is just screwed into the centre and coming through. He just clips it over the keeper. Great run by Vashchuk coming up the field. He carries the ball. His distribution is not the very best in the world, but it does get there. And Shevchenko puts it in. Look at that. Right over the keeper. He waits on the keeper to commit himself. But give a lot of credit on that to Vashchuk coming up the field, Derek. He carried the ball, and as you said, what a counter-attack. I mean, the big man just gained strides all the way up the middle.
The man who plays his football in Russia with Torpedo Moscow makes it 2-0 to the Ukraine. Serhiy Skachenko, after earlier Serhiy Popov had made it 1-0.
М'яч забив Серхій Скаченко, номер 7.
There's confirmation from our public address announcer.
Oh, Skachenko has been playing very well, Derek, and he took that one. We said that he seemed to have the liberty to move around because most of the time he'd been operating on the right, and all of a sudden as that counter broke, he broke across from the right, he broke in behind the player carrying the ball, and then he continued on his journey and left him in the perfect position to take the pass. Wasn't the best pass in the world. It looked like the Russian defender got enough of it to stop it, but it just had the legs to carry forward to him.
Hareen gets there in the nick of time. Well, the Ukrainian fans have been eyeing this fixture ever since the draw for Euro 2000 qualifying was made. They believe that they were in fact the most important ingredient. The old USSR menu.
Well, it's amazing how many of these fixtures did come up when you look at Yugoslavia. I mean, so many teams came out of the breakup of Yugoslavia. Croatia, Macedonia and Yugoslavia all ended up in the one group too.
Yarovsky, one of two players to be booked already in this game, the other being Kosovsky of the Ukraine. There he is, Kosovsky. This is Euro 2000 qualifying on ESPN, Group 4 from the Olympsky Sports Complex in Kiev. And what a start by the Ukraine. Goals by Popov and Skachenko. They have the Russians on the ropes.
Well, it was almost like the Russian coach knew what was going to happen, Terry, because he kept saying he didn't want to blow the game in the first 20 minutes. So he's more or less blowing it in the first 25 minutes. I mean, you would imagine that the way the Russians started out, that they had it under control. But the Ukraine are just flying out there and just so much better than the Russians and running off the ball. That's their key.
Excellent teamwork displayed by the Ukrainians. Tremendous atmosphere. There's a flashing drive. Play rages on, and see the effects of the smoke bomb evident on the field. One correction to the Ukrainian lineup, Tommy. Serhiy Konovalov, who was supposed to be on the bench, is actually in the lineup wearing 9. So that's not in fact Kozovsky. I was a little fooled by that because it didn't seem to be that Kozovsky had blonde hair. Well, that must have been a very quick dye job. So in fact, the number 15 was the player who was booked earlier, Serhiy Konovalov. Kozovsky is on the bench. Konovalov, the 26-year-old who plays for, surprise, surprise, Dynamo Kiev. The tricky Shevchenko. Skachenko. Met with the challenge from Popov. The Russians almost falling over each other here. Cut out effectively again. Good work at the back by Gusін.
Oh, Gusін now has drifted out to the spot that I thought he would occupy, Derek, out on the left-hand side. They used him very, very well in the middle, and obviously now they feel comfortable with stretching out their defence again now that they've gotten the 2-0 lead.
Mikitin's throw. Gusін comes to collect. Konovalov. Gusін. The Ukrainians can certainly afford to play this way now. Just keep hold of the ball, frustrate Russia as much as possible. But they don't want to drop back into a defensive posture. Головко can play as a sweeper or wide defensively.
Oh, he's not really sure where he's playing today, Derek, but he's better start playing a little bit. He hasn't played a whole lot in this first 29 minutes, and they have to have him involved if they're going to do anything.
Well, a clip of the heels that time. The man fouled was Semak. Join us for NFL action, the National Football League, live on ESPN. We'll bring you the Oakland-Kansas City match. That's Oakland against Kansas City live Sunday. Check your local listings. The Raiders and the Chiefs. Scachenko. High bubbling header. Well, Šovkovský held his ground. It was a bit of a push anyway. The defender going forward was Yuri Kovtun.
Oh, Kovtun got a lucky break on the ball there, and then he pushed the keeper. Look at that scoreline. That's all they're interested in here.
So they flash it into the evening sky. Around 7:36 local time here. These Ukrainian attackers coming in waves now. Gusін.
Well, it just seems like they're so much faster than the Russians out there, Derek, and so much more committed.
Clumsy tackle, really, by Dmytrulin. The man taking the fall was Alenichev, who's been almost invisible. He's supposed to be the main playmaker for the Russians.
Well, you'd expect him to be setting everything up. Everything should be going through midfield between Alenichev and Kalivanov. It hasn't been able to. And if you were going to go outside, well, Kanchelskis is out there. They haven't been able to get the ball to him in either. So they have a couple of major problems here, and that is that they cannot get their big men involved. And Semak goes down. He gets a knock.
Sergei Semak, 22-year-old who plays for CSKA Moscow. And there will be a free kick here to the Ukraine.
High boot there.
Головко, the captain, just deciding to run over it. And he'll let Šovkovský do the honors. Konovalov losing out on Opko. Trying to find Kalivanov farther forward. And Kalivanov just hasn't had the necessary service to date.
Oh, here's one reason why, Derek. There is so much pressure. Even Mілько, who had started a run at the back, trying to cut his way upfield, he's just kept out of it by the Ukrainians. Ukrainians not allowing any space, and they're putting out a lot of pressure in midfield.
13 minutes left to go in first half play. It's the Ukraine 2, Russia 0.
The Ukrainian wave is going strong here.
Šovkovský just gets it away after getting the feed from Dmytrulin. And the referee whistles Markus Merk there in Germany, giving the free kick the way of Russia.
Well, the one thing is a long time left in this game yet, and Russia has a lot of firepower, Derek. If they can just get the side to start moving. There's been no movement at all on their side. They're quite a dangerous side.
Here's Alenichev, the choreographer in midfield, and that was better. The idea, at any rate, trying to unleash Semak.
Dmytrulin makes a timely tackle on the ball and just scoots it away. Flag may have gone up.
Yes, indeed. You've recently joined us here on ESPN. Goals by Popov and Skachenko. The difference between the teams. The Ukraine leading 2-0. You might think that that's a surprise, but this Ukrainian team on paper very strong.
Well, they were unfortunate not to make the World Cup qualification at the finals, Derek. I mean, going out to Croatia, and then we all saw how Croatia did so well into the semi-final. Although if you were with us earlier, Croatia came down to earth with a bang today at Lansdowne Road when Ireland defeated them 2-0.
Skachenko it was who scored the second goal. Popov the first. Moscow coming from a free kick. Back post header, the second, a sweeping counter-attack. With the Russians outmanned, outgunned as well. Ball came off the boot of Valery Minko last of all. Be a throw right at the corner flag for Shevchenko.
Minko's having a tough time over on the right-hand side, especially with Mykityn coming forward. He hasn't been fit to contain him at all. Minko's another of those players, Derek, that had been out of favour for a while. He hasn't played in a couple of years, got the call back again today.
Dmitry Hareen certainly had hoped to avoid picking the ball out of his own net twice in the opening 25 minutes.
One of the international brigade that plays for Vialli at Chelsea. There's a game there to call it Find the Englishman in that team. Nobody has been able to yet.
Free kick it is this time. Goes against Skachenko. And what a difficult group this is on paper. During the halftime interval, we'll take a look at all the sections and rate them 1 through 9. I think this is certainly among the most awkward. The two favorite teams being Russia and France. The French will play later today. We'll have that match for you live here on ESPN in Reykjavik against Iceland. Where's the defense? Mykityn with acres of space. And Skachenko in the middle. All cut out by Varlamov.
Varlamov, they're using him. He's wearing number 11, Derek, but they're using him as an extra defender coming back. Mykityn is causing all kinds of problems coming up on that left-hand side. And Minko just has no answer to him out there. He hasn't been fit to keep close to him even. Never mind to get tackling him.
Semak. Confronted by Vashchuk. Experienced defender. Alenichev struggling for space. 25-year-old midfield technician. Головко. Alenichev. This is Yanovsky. Being pursued by Hussein and Yanovsky. And still Yanovsky. Just trying to poke it through perhaps to Kalivanov. Delayed too long in the end.
Oh, Dmytrulin, Derek, has committed some unbelievable tackles in there. Just getting the foot to the ball. His timing has been picture perfect today. That's a couple of them now.
Yuri Dmytrulin playing beside Alexander Holovko. This very dogged Ukrainian defense. Chugainov's pass, Holovko. He's biding his time. Hussein doing the closing down. That pass by an Opko. Give Gusін credit for putting him off. They really are harrying the Russians at every opportunity.
Oh, that's a key. I mean, the pressure has been kept on them at the back, and the Russians are not getting any time to set up. Russians like to come out of the back. They like to feed the ball into midfield, have a look around, see what's happening. They're not getting time today. You can see an Opko there. No time with the ball at all, and you just give the ball away.
Kanchelski's nowhere to go. An Opko with Mілько. Kanchelski's went flying, and quite honestly, he took a dive. The referee knows it. So Bishevets does as well. It'll soon be Champions League time here on ESPN. Join us for live coverage on opening day. The defending champions Real Madrid will face Internazionale. Check your local listings for live UEFA Champions League coverage here on ESPN.
Mr. Super and Mr. Ronaldo. What a way to start.
Couldn't be much better. The game, it appears, will now be held in Seville. As opposed to the Bernabeu.
No, of course, the reason for that was all the confusion. The goalpost being pulled down at the game last year. What was against Borussia Dortmund? Game held up for about 70 minutes. So Real Madrid have to play. It was supposed to be the first 3 games, but I understand they've got a cut down. It's just the first game now.
Little dummy that time by the German referee, Marcus Merk. There's a free kick though to Alenichev and company. Varlamov going into reverse gear. Chugainov just about sums up the first half for Russia. 6 minutes to go. And they have a major problem to solve, Tommy.
Yeah, they certainly haven't. And one of the problems that they're encountering out there is they're not sure where Shevchenko or Rebrov are playing. The Ukraine are doing a great job of drifting one of them back and pushing the other forward. When one goes back, one goes forward, Derek, and it's working out perfectly. Look at who's picking the ball up now in his own half the field. Shevchenko, and when he pushes the ball forward, Rebrov has already taken off. It's a good ply, and it's worked out very well for them.
Vащuk across the defense. Головко. It's his 22nd cap. Mикитин, one of the big stories of the first half. He tried to release Popov then. Popov playing just a little farther forward than Mикитин, both left-sided players.
Oh, Mикитin showing a lot of skill, a lot of courage and a lot of determination out on that left wing coming forward. And he's just waltzing round tackles, Derek. It's almost like he's invisible out there. They don't seem to be picking him up at all.
There he is, Mикитин. He's carving out the throw and banging it off the frustrated Kanchelski's. Well, Kanchelski's admitted before a ball was kicked that he perhaps had mixed feelings about this game. Himself, a Ukrainian by birth, opted in common with several players in 1992 to throw his lot in with Russia. He did, however, qualify his remarks by saying that, well, you can't turn the clock back. And I think once a Ukrainian, always a Ukrainian. Sabo, actually of Hungarian descent, born in the western part of this country.
You kind of the same feeling you'd have if you're playing for England.
I would say so. No comment as it's cleared away at the vital moments. That time by Dmytrulin. Gets it back again. Yanovsky lost out, and here's the counter-attack. This is where they can be dangerous. Rebrov collapses in a heap and wins the free kick. Semak went charging in.
And that's what they've been so effective with. When Rebrov can come back and pick the ball up like that. And even when he doesn't, this man here coming from the back has also aided out in that swift counter-attack. Doesn't look like the prettiest player on the field, Vащук, but he certainly has speed when he gets the ball at his foot, Derek.
Good swift play again. Kovальов trying to cut it back. Anatoly Bishevets, man in charge of Russia, but born here in the Ukraine. Well, they might be onto something here. With options in the middle and appeals for a penalty. But the referee says play on. The challenge is made by Головко on Kalivanov.
Well, one of the few times that Ukraine have made a mistake, Derek, they give the ball away on their own attacking third of the field against them out on the far side. Here's the situation here. That's Mілько coming in and taking Shevchenko out, but there was a rather dubious looking tackle in the area.
In just a moment, we'll update you on other happenings in Euro 2000 qualifying, but for the moment, Mикитин trying to take the bull by the horns again. Shevchenko trying to make the run, but they couldn't keep it in.
Oh, you're going to see the situation as the ball comes across into the box. Watch for the tackle coming in here. Does he take him down? I think he takes him down.
Головко, the captain, with a challenge on Kalivanov.
I think the ball was gone, Derek, when he hit him.
Less than 2 minutes to go in first half play. Old-fashioned scrap for the ball. Shevchenko. He's kicked it too far forward for his own good.
But, I mean, the speed they have compared to the Russians, I mean, they can pick up 1.5 yards in about 25, 30 yards. The Russians not fit to keep with Shevchenko or Rebrov at all.
A lot of nationalistic fervor in the air tonight. This is the match Ukrainian fans have been pointing towards since the draw was made. And the players haven't disappointed them. An energetic, up-tempo, skillful first-half display. Dmytrulin.
Well, they want to make sure they go into the dressing room now with a 2-0 score.
And talking of scores, Tommy Smith, we mentioned earlier that England had the lead against Sweden. Well, look at that. The Swedes are now in front themselves.
Oh, we said it's 60 years since England won in Sweden, so that record might be still intact after the day.
In Group 3, that would be an upset. Moldova with the edge on Finland.
Oh, so many of these emerging nations now, Derek, coming up with good teams.
Don't forget to stay with us at halftime here on ESPN for our Euro 2000 glance as promised, plus the first half highlights. A look again at this explosive start made by the Ukraine. We're inside stoppage time, as you can see. Merk checking his watch. Dmytrulin with the throw. Vащук. Головко. Šovkovský hasn't really been put under a lot of serious pressure in the first half. Referee having already checked his watch a couple of times.
I thought he was blowing the whistle, but
just urging the players to continue for the moment. I think they were convinced that it was halftime already. Not so. Can't imagine we'll have a significant amount of stoppage time, mind you.
well, unless he's adding on a lot of time for celebrations for the goals.
There it is this time. The Ukrainians go to the dressing room with a sensational 2-goal lead. Popov and Skachenko doing the damage.
Oh, and richly deserved. I mean, they're unfortunate. It might have been one more on top of that, but Russia maybe should have had a call for a penalty. Ukraine has played very well in the first half, Derek.
A sparkling performance by the Ukraine against Russia in Euro 2000 qualifying Group 4. 2-0 the score at the end of 45 minutes. Back with more from Kiev in just a moment.